What's up, everyone? Woo! Welcome to episode 1 of this thing that we're doing. Alex, what's it called?
Zoo Gone Quarantine.
That's the name.
That's the name.
Roll the intro. Welcome to our first episode ever of The Zoo Gone Quarantined, episode 1. I'm your host, Gordy Nixon. You might recognize me from seeing me around at church.
Yeah.
Today, our special guest is the one and only Alex Chute, also known as Soccer Mom. What we're doing right now is a little different. It's a little strange, maybe, to what we've been doing, but we decided, how can we do something that isn't necessarily just like a sermon that might get old watching it through the screen, but how can we do something that's a little bit more fun, a little bit more interactive with you guys, has some silliness to it, but also has some seriousness to it. And so what we've decided to do is start these, and maybe this will be the only episode we ever do because it's terrible, and maybe it'll be great.
No,
we don't
won't.
know. We are discovering that right now. But what we're going to do is we are going to have a conversation, and we're going to learn about Alex. We're going to learn some silly, ridiculous stuff about Alex, and hopefully we'll learn some serious stuff about him and his walk with God as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, one and only, Alex Chute.
Thank you.
Alex, how's life going? What have you been doing in quarantine?
Dude, it sucks. It's a lot of time on TikTok for sure. I haven't gotten to the
Cut
point.
The video off.
No, it's important. I haven't made one yet.
Okay.
I think that's where I draw the line until this whole thing's over. But a lot of TikTok. I have, on a weird, serious note, from TikToks. Now I am actually reading my Bible a lot, which is pretty good. Yeah. But TikToks.
From TikToks, like TikTok.
Yeah, like they have like the TikTokers like post Bible verses on it, you know, and you read.
Wow.
Yeah. TikTok's amazing.
I feel like this just turned into a TikTok commercial.
I can.
Moving on. Okay. Alex, so for those of you that are watching that maybe don't know Alex, I feel like most of you know Alex pretty well, but Alex, if you had to describe yourself in 3 words,
oh boy, what
would that be?
In 3 words?
3 words to describe yourself.
First word that comes to mind would be goofy. I think that's definitely one. I would say, likes to dance. Dancing.
Dancer, got it. Goofy, dancer.
Dancing, and then good listener.
That's 2 words.
Listening.
Got it. All right, we'll accept that answer. Now, if you were to, if I was to give the junior hires 3 words to describe you, how do you think the junior hires would answer this question?
Good punching bag would be very good.
Good punching bag.
Or
got it. That's a good answer.
Throwing pizza face.
Got it. Comment in the comments below.
Yeah.
3 words to describe Alex, please.
Yeah.
Curious to find out what you have to say. Cool. Well, how long have you been helping out at the zoo? When did that start? What does that look like? What does the zoo on a weekly basis look like for you?
I started helping out at the zoo, I think it was 3 years. I think I'm on 3 years now. Doing 3 years. It's basic, like when I first started helping out at the zoo, it was like, now it's grown a lot, and it's been huge, and it's been like a really awesome transition. But before, even when it was smaller and we didn't have the same size we did before, it was still the crazy amount of energy and an atmosphere that hasn't changed. And I remember that's what kept me going and coming back, because like I got there, I'm like, whoa, this is insane, but I love it. And I was like, this is great. There's food flying everywhere. There's dancing. There's a sermon. There's worship. It was like the perfect combination. I just like fell in love with it right away. It was awesome. I really loved it.
That's super cool. Cool. Out of all the zoo leaders, this is a fun question.
Oh boy.
Out of all the zoo leaders, who do you think you would least like to be quarantined with?
Least like to be quarantined with?
Yeah.
You
gotta answer honestly.
Honestly.
And you can't just say me because I'm the easy answer. I'm sitting here.
I'd have to say the leader that least likely want to be quarantined with, probably. I'd say Beto, because I feel like he wouldn't know. Beto, you're awesome. You're great. But I feel like a long period of time would surpass when I'd be with him and he'd just kick me out and I'd be stuck on the street. I feel like you'd draw the line.
Sorry,
and say
Beto, if you watch this, I apologize. We have some student submitted questions. Question number 1 comes from Catherine. Shout out to Catherine. Catherine would like to know, how long have you known Gordy?
3 years.
3 years.
3
easy answer.
Fantastic years.
Hayden.
Crazy years.
Shout out to Hayden.
Hayden.
Asked, if you didn't know, Alex, you're a big dirt bike guy, right? Okay. Hayden asked, why do you ride KTM and not Suzuki?
Because Suzuki's trash.
There you go.
That's it, Hayden.
Hayden just hit the dislike button.
Yep.
And then Megan, our very own leader, asked, who is your favorite zoo leader?
What is with these leader
Probably
questions?
not allowed to answer that question. Moving on. So now that you guys feel like you know Alex, tell us a little bit about I don't know, your journey with God, what you have been through in life, like where did that start, and where did your walk with God start, and where did it become real to you?
Yeah, so I was raised in a Christian home. I was born going to church. Like I was raised, my family every Sunday, and Wednesday nights was when our midweek was for the children's ministry, and in junior high, I'm into high school. So I would always find myself going, and I made some friends going to youth group and growing up in church. But once high school hit, I was still going to church, but I was not there. Mm-hmm. I wasn't absorbing like what I was learning. I was only a Christian on Sundays and Wednesdays. And then when I needed something, or I felt like God could answer this prayer to make my life better, that would be the one out of like once a year I'd pray to him. So that really hit me in high school, and I was going through a lot of rough stuff. And senior year of high school, I started to kind of go back and actually invest in this Christianity thing. And I got closer with some of my friends in high school that were going to church, and they were weird, they were strange, they were goofy, but that just like brought me back in. And with that, I was able to like join the life group. I went to summer camp that first time. I hadn't gone my whole 4 years in high school, and they invited me there, and I had a great time. And then from then on, as I started going to college, I decided, you know what, this is something I want to take serious. I'm done with just pretending that this is just a mask that I put on, and I really decided to, you know what, this is something I want to believe in. This is something I know. I felt like I knew this was all real, but I had so many doubts and questions. But because of that, that's when I dove in deeper, and I started to get more involved, and I wanted to get those questions answered.
That's awesome.
And I was scared because it was like I was nervous to ask questions, because then it was like, oh, you don't have faith. What's going on? And then I started talking to leaders like, no, you of course, it's natural. Of course, we all have doubts and we all have questions, and to not get those answers only take you further away. Mm-hmm. And so it was great to have friends that helped me get those questions answered and helped me along the journey that I was going through.
So for you, if there's kids out there that have questions, have answers, maybe have doubts when it comes to Christianity, what they believe or the Bible, what advice would you give them? Because it sounds like you kind of experienced the same thing. What would you tell those kids who might be going through that time period of figuring out those questions that they have and how to get those answers?
What held me back was I was very nervous, and I was very hesitant on going to someone who was more mature in their faith and me coming to them with questions. Mm-hmm. And I was afraid of just being looked down on as like a lesser Christian. What I didn't realize was that there's no such thing. What I realize now is like the mature Christian that I was going to, they had the same questions, the same doubts that I had. And I was just, what they did differently that I didn't do is that they dove into those doubts and into those fears, and they read it for themselves, and they addressed them, and they didn't let them sit and just boil up, and then you end up walking away from God. So I'd say if you're struggling with that, if you're having questions, you're having doubts, don't keep them in. Like go to someone, talk to them, go to your leaders. don't ever hesitate to ask questions. And that's what I found on later than I would have liked to, but that's what really changed my faith.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. So would you say for you it was like, is there a time or a moment where specifically you were like, that's when I realized God was real, or that I believed, or was it, would you say, more of just kind of a slow progression?
Yeah, no, it definitely hit me when 3 years ago, right? This whole ministry, this whole church changed my whole faith, changed my whole life. I moved from Escondido to Ramona. I didn't know anyone. We couldn't even find a church for like the first 3 months we were in Ramona. Mm-hmm. And I was finding people, my friends, I'm like, hey, can I move out? I don't want to be in Ramona anymore. Get me out of here. I didn't like my life. And I was still following God. Beforehand, I was having doubts and fears, and this didn't make it any easier. But I chose to take that hard step and still trust in God, even though I didn't like where I was going in my life. Mm-hmm. And so sooner or later, you guys, North Coast opened up in Ramona. I've heard of you guys before, and I was like, let's try it out. And then fast forward, like a couple months later, I got asked to help out the zoo. And then the rest is history. And then I fell in love with it, and my faith was grown with these kids, and it was just, it's crazy. That moment I realized was that where I thought God was gone, that's where he was working the most. And it was hard to see that, and I had a lot of questions and frustrations. But I stayed with God, and as hard as it was, I kept, listening to sermons, reading my Bible, and listening to worship music, just surrounding myself with God, even though I was doubting everything he was saying. And then I saw his faithfulness coming in at the end. Just fantastic.
That's awesome. So you said something that I liked, that I want to kind of understand what that means more, because I feel like a lot of kids probably are in the same spot, but you said where you thought God was gone was where he was moving the most. Mm-hmm. Were there specific areas that you doubted or had a fear, or like what were those biggest doubts or fears that you might have had that you thought God was just not a part of, or God was missing in?
I thought that I made a mistake and I went in a direction God couldn't rearrange, that he couldn't fix. And I realized, I shouldn't have gone up to Ramona. I should have stayed back with my friends. There's nothing up here. And I had that, I knew I was doubting. I knew that God was going to get me through this. And I was like, worst case scenario, I do end up moving out of Ramona, and I go back down to Escondido, and I'm able to go back to my normal life. But I was able to really focus and realize where my faith was when I was going through a hard time. And even when I didn't see God working, even though like I said, I surrounded myself with everything I could. I surrounded my friends with myself with good Christian friends. I was reading my Bible. I was doing everything you were supposed to do, even though I wasn't really feeling like it. And that was the hardest part. Is I would wake up, I'm like, I do not want to read my Bible at all. And I just pushed that aside, and not force is a hard word, but I put myself in that routine. So even when later on that day something bad happened or something threw me off, I was like, oh, I did read something about that day. And just surround myself with that, even though I was doubting a lot of stuff. I was like, God, where are you? What are you doing? Even though I was drawing closer to him and saying and communing with him, it was just gave me a sense of peace and comfort, even though I didn't know what was going on. I was able to know that I wasn't doing it alone. And in the end, thankfully I was able to see what was the purpose of going through that hard time.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Yeah. I think the cool part too is for students to hear. I think a lot of times us as leaders, they see us preach messages, or they see us not having perfect walks with God, but portraying a more mature relationship with God, when it's cool to hear neither one of us were always at that spot where we had it all figured out, or we had answers, or we knew the Bible well. Alex has had a journey when there's been times where he's sat in the same position that a lot of you are sitting in, where he's trying to figure out those answers, where maybe he has doubts, or he's not strongly plugged into church. And so I think it's cool for Alex to share that, because for you guys, I hope it helps you understand that if you're sitting in a situation similar to Alex's, you don't have to be afraid or worried or discouraged by that, because it's something that everybody goes through. And I think it's cool. I know where Alex is now, but Alex, what did you, let's say high school or beginning of college, where did you think you were going to be 5 to 10 years from now? Now what's your goal and what are you striving towards? Because I think it's cool, the difference, and I think it would be cool to share that.
I had, when I was graduating, when I was senior of high school and going into college, my freshman year, I had like 10 different things of what I wanted to do, and I was just trying to narrow it down. And ministry was not anywhere close to it. Nowhere at all. Helping out the zoo, doing junior high, not on my radar whatsoever. I was like, the one thing I was pursuing the most was aviation. I wanted to become a pilot. So I reconnected with an old friend, and I was doing flight lessons and everything. I was going to school, I was talking to recruiters and people who were pilots, and I was lining everything up. And I had like 3 years planned out. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna take this class, then I'm gonna do this amount of hours in the air, and then I'm gonna talk to this instructor. I had everything planned out. And then I started volunteering at the zoo, and I did it just as like a twice a week at most, maybe once every other Sunday morning. I'll help out. Like, I like kids, they're
Smart
fun.
Decision.
Yeah, and then I started helping at the zoo. I'm like, okay, they're kind of fun. This is gonna be a fun thing to do on the side. And then it started going longer, and I started building relationships with these kids, and I started hearing about, hey, you're going through that same thing, I went through that same thing. And I was starting to realize I'm able to help these kids out through that. And now, after I'm done talking with these kids, I can throw pizza at them, I can throw dodgeballs at them, I can have fun with them.
Right.
And it was just, my whole world was flipped upside down, and it wasn't easy at all.
Yeah.
I had such a hard time realizing that, like, I feel like, because when I was in high school, I was like, I don't know, every decision I make, I put so much emphasis on, because if I made the wrong choice, I wasn't gonna able to fulfill God's will for my life. And as I grew more in my faith, I started to realize it's not where you go, but it's who you are through that walk. And that just took the pressure off.
Write that down, guys. That was good.
Yeah. Forgot what I said. You have to rewind it. But it took the pressure off of me, and I started to realize, okay, maybe being a pilot isn't what I'm supposed to do. And that was such a hard thing to come to. That was such a hard thing to come to terms of, because like that 2 years of senior year of high school, freshman year, and a little bit into sophomore, pilot. I want to get in the air. I want to fly a plane. It looks so cool. And then I started realizing God's like, slow down. Okay, look where I have you now. There's a reason why I moved you to this small town of Ramona. I didn't understand it, but now I see that it's because God was showing me through this town and in this ministry, this is where I have the spot for you to grow to who you're supposed to be. And that was a hard thing, because my agenda was one way, and God's agenda and his like plan to help develop me in who I am and who I'm supposed to be was in Ramona. And so turning that dial and going from one way to the other, it was hard. And sometimes you guys would go through decisions and have to make ones that you don't like. And it's hard. I'm not saying it's gonna be, they're never easy. That's why they're called hard decisions. But if you get that perspective, I know a lot of you, every time I have conversations with kids, a lot of my anthem that I said is perspective, have perspective. It's true, it helps, it works a lot. And when you realize that there's bigger things in this world than your career and your relationships, you become that person that God has meant for you to be. And through that and after that, then those rest of the things start to line up. And if you do that backwards, you can end up doing the career you want to do in the relationship you want to be in, but not be the person who God called you to be.
Dang.
So that was really good. I don't know where that came from. Write that down. Or pause, rewind.
Yeah, I think the cool part is, I don't know, sitting on the other side of your story and getting to see an outside perspective of it. Just, it's cool seeing, like, a lot of times what we think is so set in stone for us. Or I know in junior high, a lot of times we can feel like this is our value, this is our worth, this is what I'm destined to be. Or we can feel lost and we can feel confused. And then you look at Alex's story, and you have no idea what God's got planned for you. You have no idea what sits on the other side if you just give him control and you give him the ability to move you and shape you and form you. And like, who knows? It doesn't matter what direction you're headed right now, or if you're headed away from God or towards God. It's if you let him move and work. Look at Alex, he thought he was going to be a pilot, probably was going to get paid more, but oh well. But now he's in ministry, getting used by God in amazing ways, and he's loving it. So I think that's just really cool. A couple more good questions for you. If you were to go back to junior high and think about that time period of your life, what do you think maybe the biggest misunderstanding at least that you observe or you had in junior high towards Christianity is?
I thought it was all rules.
Yeah.
Do this, do this, do this,
Yeah.
do this, do this. That's why I didn't invest. I had no interest in it at all. I was like, as long as I'm a good person, that's good with me.
Yeah.
And I started to realize there's way much more. There are rules. God does give us commandments. Those are in the Bible. That's not what a Christian is, though. Christian is, it's from what you do here, from in the stuff that you read, and you move it from your head down into your heart, and you change who you are. And there's just this, you change as a person, and you notice that. If you have gone through it, like you can tell you're patient, where you're like, before I would have yelled at you.
Yeah.
Before, like I was so upset, and then I was just able to relax and calm down. Junior high, I was like, there's too many rules. It's just basically be a good person is what I thought Christianity was. And that's what I was doing through junior high. I'm like, that's good enough for me. I don't need to go to church. But I missed it completely.
That's awesome. So if you were to give junior hires a short little piece of advice based off of what you learned in junior high, what would you tell them?
2 things I feel like, okay, 3 things I feel like you need to focus on in junior high. And that's it. Anything outside of it, I think it's added drama. I think it's added stress you don't need. In junior high, it's a great time to focus on these 3 things. The first thing is your friends. It's important. Focus on your friends. Second thing, your school. As much as you guys hate it, focus on it. Because I wish I did, and I didn't. But yeah, do that. Pretty sure I'm technically supposed to say that. And then thirdly,
the parents right now are really happy with you.
Yeah, school kids, study, flashcards. Yeah. Third thing, your faith. You put those 3 things together. I think those are the things you need to focus on in junior high. If you're and it's such a touchy issue when I talk about relationships in junior high. There's so many different opinions, and this is just my opinion. This isn't in the Bible. God doesn't say don't date in junior high. But from my faith experience, advice from other people, anything outside of those 3 things, your faith, family, and school, friends, family, whatever I said. Okay, you focus on those 3 things. Anything outside of that, if you add a relationship into it, you focus on other things, and you're not focusing on who you are, who God calls you to be in that specific time, in those 2 to 3 years that you're in junior high, you miss out on important things in your life that could help build you up to be the person that you're supposed to be. And oftentimes, like when we are in junior high, we have no idea what we are or who we are. We're just kind of like, let's have fun and do crazy stuff. Or I find a relationship. Maybe this person can help me out. But when you're in junior high, I think that you don't need to be focusing on any added stuff. If you focus on your friends, your school, and your faith, and you focus on those things, that's a good, solid foundation to have, especially going into high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. Well, that was the most of the deep, hard-hitting questions. So hopefully you guys learned something from that stuff. If you missed some of it, go back and rewatch it.
Go back.
That part.
Take notes.
Some truth bombs from Alex. So the end portion here is just speed questions. Alex has no idea what the questions that we're about to ask. They're more fun, ridiculous, get to know Alex questions.
I'm nervous. I'm sweating.
Feel free to answer them as well. Comments below. But here we go. Okay. Favorite Disney princess?
Tinkerbell.
Already failing. Not a Disney.
That's what came to my head.
All right. Fair enough. And it was the zombie apocalypse, and your only choice for a weapon was things that leaders use in Predator. What would you use? So dodgeball, sock weapon, pool noodle, or Nerf gun?
Nerf gun.
Why? Tell us why. Give us logic behind this choice.
Because if you put in the bullet with the rubber sticky pad in your Nerf gun and you shoot the zombie in the eyeball, he can only see half of you, and that other half can run away. And then, worst comes to worst, you just throw the plastic gun at him.
Yeah, but then you have to reload your Nerf gun right after that.
Yep. And you just go up and hold his head still, and hopefully it doesn't bite you, and just pull it out and reload it.
Easy.
I think that's the most practical way.
Alex is dead in the zombie apocalypse, by the way. Okay,
but
next
to
question.
have fun.
Would you rather always have to be doing a TikTok dance or be stuck in quarantine forever?
TikTok dance. I can't do quarantine forever.
probably be in really good shape too. Which other
A renegade.
zoo leader?
What?
Which other zoo leader, not yourself,
No.
is the best dancer?
Ooh. I'm gonna have to say you.
Yes.
You put in so much
Yeah,
effort,
all right,
and I'm
thank
like,
you.
I was,
We were about to cut this
it's-
video if you didn't say me. Who would win in a fight? You or 100 angry toddlers?
Okay, are we talking just normal, plain?
No weapons allowed, just you or 100 angry toddlers. So
in
like
my
I would say
hands?
like ages 3 to 5.
Ooh. How angry are they? Hungry?
Real
Like,
angry, as angry as they get.
I don't know. Maybe the toddlers.
See, humility.
I don't know.
I like that. He's humble. Chick-fil-A or In-N-Out?
You know.
Good
Duh.
work. Good work.
Always
if you could be
In-N-Out.
one
shaking
mythical
your head.
creature, what would you be?
Oh, Phoenix.
Phoenix. Not Baby Yoda. That's fine. He's not mythical. Whatever. Oh, you're right. He's real. If you could only eat one food forever, what would it be?
California burrito.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a really good answer. Favorite
I'm
junior
doing
high
good.
student? I'm
Bruh.
just kidding. Don't answer that. That's all that we got. We are gonna play
Yeah.
a short little game called "Spill Your Guts" after this.
That's
Hopefully,
cool.
you guys enjoyed episode 1 of what do we call it?
Zootopia.
Zoo Quarantined.
Yep.
With our guest Alex. Stay tuned to watch us both probably throw up. Yes. Enjoy. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Spill Your Guts.
Yeah.
This is the way this game is going to work. On the table behind us, we have 8 really disgusting food items that we will go through in a second.
It smells.
Alex is going, we have a pile of Uno cards on the table. They are either red or blue. Alex is going to guess if the next card that comes up is going to be red or blue. If he's correct, he gets to choose a food item for me to eat. If he's wrong, I get to choose a food item for him to eat. So basically what's going to happen is you're going to watch us suffer, probably throw up.
Yep.
And
And
it's
we
gonna
have
be
our
a good
throw
video
up
for you.
trash can.
So if you're in quarantine,
Great.
bored out of your mind, hopefully this brings you entertainment. The food items we got, we have baby food, we have some crickets, we have a raw egg, we have a whole onion, we have canned dog food, octopus and sriracha chili sauce,
Worms.
worms, and sardines. So,
Oh,
all 8 will probably make me throw up. It's gonna be good. Okay,
Great.
Here we go. Alex, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
I'm nervous too. I don't know why I signed up for this. All right.
Am I guessing the color?
You just guess, and then I
Okay.
want to reveal. It's gonna be more
Okay.
red or blue. What do you
Feeling
like more?
blue.
He's feeling
Blue,
blue. He's
blue.
feeling blue, everyone.
Please, dear Lord.
We should reveal it to the camera first, so we have no
That's
idea.
awful.
You said blue, right?
Yeah. I choose. No.
I need to strategically figure out what I want to eat the least and make Alex eat that.
Okay, go. Bring it on.
Alex, I want you to eat
Make up your mind.
the dog food.
Oh my gosh.
Eat the dog food.
Oh.
Open that up. You can't open it, everyone. Oh, it's so gross. It's like stuck in there. You should probably pour it in that cup.
My egg's going.
Make sure the camera can see you pour it in there. Wow. Wait, what flavor is it? It's
It's beef, bacon, and cheese. So I'm hoping that bacon and cheese will save me. I don't know if it's gonna. I might need a spoon. Oh, we got juices everywhere.
Dang it, I should.
Yeah, it's not even the dog food. It's like rubber. What is it? Oh.
Scoop it out with the lid. Oh my gosh, that's gross.
There we go.
All right, that's
eating
good
the-
enough.
Can you see that? Is that good? Gosh, this just looks like. Oh, can I just grab it with my hand?
Sure. Well, yeah,
This
that's
is good-
better too.
good
Yeah,
chunk.
throw it in.
Oh, there's rubber stuff on it. What is that?
Put it down. Put it down the hatch. Yeah. How's it taste?
That was surprisingly way chewy.
We should have made a rule that draw 2, you have to eat 2 items, but let's do it for that. That would have been good.
That was the
All right, dog food down the hatch. Great
weirdest
job.
texture.
Proud of you. All right.
It came up red. I'm gonna do blue.
Show on the camera first.
What is?
Again, draw 2. He has to do 2
No,
items.
no, we're
All right,
not.
next
not
item that he has to eat, we are gonna do.
How's my dog breath?
It's delicious. Thank you. We are gonna do the sardines.
You want to see me throw up? Well, you're all gonna see it.
Wait, in case you're watching, this is sardines and soybean oil with hot green chilies. Enjoy, good sir.
I hate that I have to open the can.
Oh! They're adorable. Look at those little fish.
Those are huge. Oh, it's falling apart.
Put it in. Show the camera first.
It's brown. Ooh.
Disgusting.
Oh, this is gonna make me throw up. I'm gonna put a chili on it. Do that one.
Probably. Cover some of the fishy taste.
All right, here we go. Down the hatch. That's actually not that bad.
Wow.
I'm surprised.
Show something else. All right, good job. You've had dog food.
That wasn't that bad.
Sardines.
It's the I think they're jalapeno.
And your chances are better now on the next one because there's a higher percentage
now it's really
of blue
fishy.
cards left in the deck, so
Now it's super fishy.
my chances are looking worse at the moment. All right, you're up. Show on the camera.
What is it? What is it? Oh. No! Are you serious? What did you do? There's so many. You cheater! These are all red, aren't
By the
they?
way, we end up.
These are all red.
Next item. Do it.
Okay, the rest have got to be.
You can't
then.
look.
I
I promise.
Juices everywhere.
Do I want to give them worms or a raw egg? Probably the raw egg. We're going raw egg.
I'm gonna have to use. I think I'm gonna have to use
All right,
the mug.
raw egg it is.
I've always seen people throw up when they eat these,
You can use this mug.
or like
Fresh.
spit it back out, and I wondered why. Because shouldn't you just be able to swallow it?
I don't know. We're gonna find out.
I'm bringing the trash can closer just because I feel like this is coming back up. That was the grossest texture ever. That just exploded.
You were so calm at first. I'm like, man, he owned it, and then it was like
Oh, my
gag reflex.
my gag reflex was just like, don't do that. That was
Beautiful.
disgusting.
Well, red or blue? Four.
I have to. There's no way there's 4 red cards in a row. Unless he. I'm going with blue again. There has to. And I don't want to eat these things. It's.
Here we go.
It's got to be. Yeah! Woo, baby! Octopus in sriracha chili sauce.
I really ahead of time should have put 4 in a row. And
Here we go. Enjoy, buddy.
what is this?
Prior to this, Gordy was very nervous about getting this item, so he's
Oh,
probably
it
not
is in a
very
can.
happy. Yeah, welcome to my world, bud.
Splatter.
Oh, you could have splattered that one. Oh, that looks
Oh.
delicious. Get your fingers in there.
Bon appetit. Get a big.
Wow, that's
Get a big.
there's
Oh,
the tentacles
yeah,
right
look
there.
at these things.
Oh, that's that. Oh my gosh! Talk us through your thought process right now.
Honestly, the sriracha flavor is
Really?
very overwhelming.
Dang it! That was the same with the sardines. They
The
put
texture of the octopus is weird, but it's mostly sriracha.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's weird. It's a weird
Oh,
taste.
well done. You were kind of panicking a little bit, but
I think it looked worse than it.
you're licking
tasted.
your fingers. That must be.
It's good sriracha.
Stop. I got dog food. I want you to pick the guess the color now.
Okay.
Okay.
Blue.
I am an idiot. But wait, this is the time. This is the time when the red comes.
There is still a red in there. What is it? Dang it!
Woo! Let's go! Let's have.
What were the chances?
Okay. That's too easy.
For the audience, the things
I would
on
want
the
you to have a
table are
cricket.
crickets, an onion,
Cricket.
worms, and baby.
Actually, no. I want to take a bite out of the onion. Go.
Do I have to peel the onion first, or do I just whatever?
No, just go for
It's
it.
a nice
Skin and
peeled
all.
onion. It's so hard.
Oh my god. It's so crunchy. How's the onion there?
Like Shrek.
Get out of my swamp. It's very strong.
By the way, in the grocery store, I looked up the sourest onions, and it was told white onions. So.
Wow. Is it sour?
The outside is not very.
That looks really hard to bite into.
It's very difficult to chew. Well, that was delicious.
Nice. I'm glad you enjoyed that. That was a. Okay, yes. You, sir, put down on this table the color red. Whoa!
Wait,
Oh wait, no! Dang it! No!
he was wrong. All right, I'm gonna have him dip a worm
I just got
in
caught in the
baby
moment.
food and eat it.
It's not that bad. I've had both before.
I'm gonna do a cricket with you.
Look, he's like a little
We'll
snake.
toast.
Look at that.
To each other.
This is like when you pick your ear out and you go like,
Oh
and then this thing pops out. This is like a parasite you see in like your nose.
Yeah!
All right, so we have here, so you
A
can
worm
see.
and a
Your
cricket.
cricket's pretty big.
That's a fatty.
Wait, compare it to.
Oh, he's still alive.
Oh, he's alive?
Jump away. Yeah.
Oh, they
Here
can
we
be
go.
friends about to be eaten. Right. How are we gonna do it?
Dip him.
Oh, he's squirmy.
Okay, dip
Hold on,
dip
hold on.
your
I
worm.
lost. I'm trying to get my worm. Oh, he's fighting it. Don't fight it, buddy. I'm gonna put your face in it. Oh, you can't. Oh, I dropped. All right, ready?
Cheers.
Mine wasn't that bad. I can barely.
Ooh, he's
How is he moving?
juicy. Well, there you have it, folks.
Wasn't that
Hope
bad.
you enjoyed.
Woohoo! Thanks, guys. We're wrapping up after this. This was very interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed. Our stomachs are gonna have fun later. So that was it. Tune in next week. We're gonna we're gonna interview another leader. We're gonna do this. Actually, instead of me nominating, I want you guys to vote. Comment down below. Put down which leader you want to see be interviewed and play a weird, gross game. So comment down below. See you guys next time.